It's time to get ready for the playoffs. And if you want one of these, listen up. Gotta look at these schedules. Strength of schedule is extremely important when you're looking at playoff performances, because it's not just about having the best players. It's about having the best players in the most optimal situations. Now, I'm not saying you trade away Christian McCaffrey if he has a bad schedule, example. But it is good to know who has a good and bad playoff schedule, because you might want to make a few adjustments to your roster, trading away some good players that may have a terrible matchup for some players that could be the same caliber of player but have a better matchup. Now, this video is catered to teams that have winning records, mainly because if you don't have a winning record, you really shouldn't be focused on the playoffs. You should be focused on getting into the playoffs. And for that, you check out this video right here, where I go over players that have the best regular season schedule. That'll help you get to the playoffs. But for those of you looking ahead, this is the video for you. So quarterbacks with great matchups: the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray. And then you got the Philadelphia Eagles with Jalen Hurts. Both of these players have top 5 playoff matchups. Jalen Hurts is gonna be a little expensive, but Kyler Murray is probably the backup quarterback on someone's roster, or he's on the waiver wire. Grab him now. 2 quarterbacks with solid matchups: 8th easiest, Brock Purdy, and the 10th easiest, Dak Prescott. Both of these quarterbacks have good playoff matchups, and they have weapons that can get the job done. And they may not be crazy expensive, especially Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was coming off of a few bad games. I think you can get him for pretty cheap. Dak Prescott, on the other hand, might be a little more expensive because he's been literally the best quarterback the last 5 weeks. He might be tough to grab, but if he's somebody backup, give it a shot. Quarterbacks with terrible playoff matchups: Tua Tagovailoa. He has the hardest strength of schedule for the fantasy playoffs, weeks 15 through 17. Yikes. I'm talking Jets, Cowboys, Ravens. If you can, I would trade Tua Tagovailoa for a quarterback with good matchups. Second toughest schedule: Trevor Lawrence. He's already been awful this year. Now you're telling me he has a bad playoff matchup? Get out of here. I have him on a couple rosters. I'm about to drop this fool. Next up, the new golden boy, CJ Stroud, has the 3rd toughest schedule for quarterbacks. See if you still want to ride that out, but not a good sign. Then lastly, in the 4th toughest schedule, Sam Howell. Week 15 isn't terrible against the Rams, but 16 and 17? Ugh. Jets, 49ers. Yikes. No thank you. Wide receivers with the easiest playoff schedule: the Seattle Seahawks. That's DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson Smith-Njigba. All 3 of these receivers have a fantastic playoff schedule. Try to get one of them on your roster. Next up, we have the Arizona Cardinals and Marquise Brown. 2nd easiest schedule. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Rams with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. People are nervous about them right now. You might be able to get one of them for cheap. And the 7th easiest schedule is the Philadelphia Eagles with AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. It's probably going to be real tough to get AJ Brown, but you might be able to get Smith. Wide receivers with terrible playoff matchups. The worst is the Miami Dolphins. That's Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Now, I'm not crazy enough to tell you to get rid of Tyreek Hill, but you can trade Jalen Waddle. 2nd toughest schedule, the Cleveland Browns. That would be Amari Cooper. It might be tough to trade him because Deshaun Watson got injured, but if you can, get him up off your team. And the 3rd toughest schedule, the Washington Commanders. That's Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, if you were starting him for any reason. I would definitely be getting them up off my team. Running backs with the best playoff matchups. At number 1, we have the Chargers with Austin Eckler. He's been the best running back the last 3 weeks, and he's gonna keep it going. Number 2, the Atlanta Falcons. That's Bijan Robinson. And unfortunately, Tyler Algier too. He'll get involved. Number 3, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. That's DeAndre Swift. Number 4, the Tennessee Titans. That's King Henry and Tajay Spears, I guess. 5, we have the Cleveland Browns. That's Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt. And we gotta skip down a little bit to go to the 8th easiest schedule, but I figured I should mention it. The Detroit Lions. That's David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Really excited about that. Running backs that have terrible matchups in the playoffs. The worst matchup, the New York Giants. That's Saquon Barkley. That offense is already garbage. And now you have a bad schedule? Yikes. Next, the 2nd hardest schedule, the Seattle Seahawks. That's Kenneth Walker III. And Zach Charbonnet if he gets banged up. Third toughest schedule, Houston Texans. That's Damian Pierce or Devin Singletary, depending on if Pierce can keep his job. Fifth toughest schedule, the Arizona Cardinals. That's James Conner, unfortunately. Getting back from injury to go to a tough schedule, that's not good. Tight ends with the easiest playoff schedule. At number 1, we have Darren Waller. If he ends up coming back to play, super unfortunate. Number 3, we have David Njoku, who just lost his quarterback. Pat Freiermuth, who doesn't have a good quarterback. Ugh. Finally, some good ones. At 6, we have Sam Laporta. Yes. And 7, TJ Hawkinson, who is crushing the game right now. Tight ends with the toughest playoff schedule. Dalton Schultz has the worst playoff schedule. Number 2, Evan Ingram. Trevor Lawrence hasn't been clicking anyways. Number 3, we got Cole Kmet. He's been a top 5 tight end this year, but that playoff schedule, ugh. Defenses with the easiest playoff schedule. Number 1, the Los Angeles Rams. Number 2, the Atlanta Falcons. Number 3, the New York Jets. Number 4, the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 6, the New Orleans Saints. And number 7, the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, when it comes to defenses in the playoffs, it's good to have 2 so you can mix and match. Most defenses are going to have 2 good matchups, not 3. So you want to find 2 different defenses that align with the good matchup. That's how championships are won. And defenses with the worst playoff schedule. I'm going to skip the defenses that nobody's starting. And I know y'all have been starting this defense. The 3rd toughest playoff schedule for a defense, the Baltimore Ravens. That defense has been carrying people, just like this next one. Ooh, some of y'all about to be mad about this, but y'all may want to eventually drop. The Dallas Cowboys with the 4th toughest schedule in the playoffs. Do you really want to start the Cowboys against the Buffalo Bills, then the Miami Dolphins, then the Detroit Lions? All 3 of those teams can put up points. I'm not trying to start the Dallas Cowboys if I don't have to. But they've been so good, there's a chance that somebody will trade for them, which I never see defenses get traded. But if a defense can drop 40, you never know. Maybe they won't look at the playoff schedule. So that's going to do it for my playoff strength of schedule episode. If you're curious about the strength of schedule for the regular season, I got you right here. It's crunch time. It's time to get ready. If you're coming after this, you got to do the little things. That's getting the second defense that makes your schedule just right. That's trading a player with a bad matchup to go get players with good matchups. You got to do the little things if you want to get one of these. Oh, and it feels so good when you have one. Trust me. It's glorious. Good luck on your trades and the playoff push. Peace.